These will be really, the window will be holding that real tight up against that, so you won't have to worry about gluing it too much. But here's the regulator. And these old regulators, the wheel that you see there goes into the track on the lift channel on the window. You might have to lube it up, spray some WD-40, grease it, whatever you like, just so it flows nicely. We're putting some grease here on the gears of the regulator, so when you roll it up and down, there's no binding at all, and it's lubed well. Some of the earlier models have this clip that goes around the circular part there on the regulator, and then that goes into the track. For these early models, you don't have to use that. So you slip the regulator up, and again, everything's going to go in loose. You might not even want to put all 4 bolts in to hold it in place, because sometimes you need to move that regulator down a little more so the window can get in. And just do it loosely, finger tight even. It should be okay. Okay, now here's the inside window scrapers. The new scrapers have these new wires that come in them. You want to save your old wire that you took out of the car originally, because the new wires are a pain in the butt to get into the holes. So I take the new wire out, save my old wire, and put that into the seal, and then start plugging this in. Believe me, it'll be a lot better. The tricky part here is the ends of the seal. You have to get them on the outside of the vent post and the outside of the felt channel on the other side. There's the wire that sticks out past the seal. Sometimes it can be a pain. You just want to try to get those done first. Sometimes you might even want to cut the wire a little bit short so you can get it in a little easier. But once then you have it lined up, you should be able to start popping them in. I used both my thumbs on either side of the clip, so it presses the wire and it kind of squeezes the clip so it can go in the hole a little bit easier. Again, take your time. I've had, times where it takes hours to sometimes do this to get it right, and it can get a little frustrating, so you want to take your time and take a step back if needed. See, I'm cutting the wire here just a little bit short because it's getting a little stubborn to try to get it on the other side of the felt channel. You don't want to cut it too short so then it's sticking out and the window could possibly scrape it as it's going up. So you want to make sure that wire definitely gets on the other side of the felt channel, not on the inside of it, because then that's going to interfere with the window. Alright, so we got that in. Now we're putting the window in, and like I said, you wanted to keep that vent post loose and even the regulator loose. It's very tough sometimes to get this in, so you kind of have to push one way and then try to get it into the felt, and you can eventually get it. So there, you slip the regulator in, you put the wheel inside that track. As I said, you needed that regulator loose or just with a couple bolts out so you can move it. Now you can be able to push it up and down while it's in the felts. So now I'm going to basically line up the holes and continue. See, I only put 1 bolt in there for that regulator, so I was able to, get it into that window. So now you can start bolting it up. Because if you have all 4 bolts in for the regulator, it's going to be very tough to then get it into that window lift channel, the wheel. You can tighten these up. Not much slack there, so now we still got those other 2 bolts loose that hold the vent window shaft. I'm just now testing it out, and the window seems to be okay up and down. Now again, I used the old felt that was in the vent post, so that window's going up and down pretty good. If you use a new felt, it might be a little tight. What you want to do is get it up as high as you can. Now that the window is up, I can now put the bolts into the vent post. And after you do this and tighten it down, the window then might get a little tight. But over time, the more you keep going up and down with it. Some people do use silicone maybe on the window in the felts, but now here I'm wrapping up the last part of the vent seal. This can be a pain. You got to try to get that rubber piece down in between the door and the vent post. Sometimes you can move the vent post with the screwdriver to get that rubber piece in there. Again, you don't have to cut this. That flap is supposed to be on the outside of that vent post there. Now for the vent latch catch, you want to cut the seal on the seam. Just with a sharp razor blade, just basically the length, and then wrap it around. Now you see here I got another bug here. You see how flat this sits on the inside of that vent flap? This is probably the only area that you would have to cut on the seal. I basically cut the track here on the rubber. Alright. The reason why you want to cut that, you might have a bulge if you don't cut it. And the reason why you got the bulge is because you have the two screws that hold the catch in place. So that rubber is resting then up on those screws, and you're going to have a bulge. See how flat that is? The vent window might not close good if you have that bulge, so you might want to cut that rubber. But that's the only area I cut the vent window seal. Now you see how nice that looks, and you see how flush it looks up here on the vent post as well. Again, you don't have to cut anywhere else. It's supposed to be like that. I see plenty of guys that cut that and they think it's not meant to be there, but it is. That little piece is supposed to flap around there. Now you just test the window if it closes. Might be a little tight at first. Okay. Now if the window's up and the vent window is closed, take a look at how the window then lines up with the post. A lot of times these are cockeyed, and that's how you start getting whistles and wind coming through. Again, it's good to close the vent window, roll the window up, and have that vent post still loose in the door. Then it'll line up, along with the loose screws up in the top of the door that hold the post up on the top. So now you can start tightening it up, and once you're straight, that's how you get the straight vent window with the post. Is to keep all that loose beforehand. Once the window's all rolled all the way up and the vent window is all the way closed, that's when you tighten everything up. So I'm even tightening up now that holds the shaft of the vent window. That's the secret, basically, to make everything line up. Everything's loose until everything's closed, basically. Just double check these are tightened already. You just test the window, and that's basically it. Now once the window's up, you can roll it back down and pull that felt channel out now that's on the top of the door, and put some glue in there, then roll the window back up, keep it closed, test the vent window out too, roll the window back up to keep the felt in there, so then it'll glue, and then you'll be good. So as you can see, this basically completes the assembly of our doors, the inside doors, for scrapers, seals, and felts. Okay, so here's the glue that I use to seal my my felt channel into the door. Just want to get some of this called seal oil or any sort of seal glue, and put it on your felt channel and roll up the window. And that's it. Good luck.